Welcome back, everybody, to the Good Shepard Sports YouTube channel. Congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks on becoming NBA champions for the first time in more than 50 years. Now, today was Championship Parade Day. It was awesome to see fans celebrating. It was even more awesome to see players celebrating and let loose a little bit and very much speak from the heart. I love the speech that PJ Tucker gave because it was just his personality. This guy that has been away from college for 15 years. This is a 15-year professional journey for PJ Tucker. To see a guy like that claw and grind his way into the NBA, now to be an NBA champion, is special. Now, speaking of special, this was a special NBA Finals. Now, what should the main takeaway be? Should it be that based on Giannis' performance, did he surpass LeBron and KD to become the best player on planet Earth? Should it be that based on what we saw from Giannis, is it the greatest Finals performance in the history of the game? Or is the Bucks winning a great thing for the NBA, maybe the most important title in the last 10 years, because it did not constitute and feature a super team and or a player, Kawhi Leonard, wanting out of town? You can make an argument for all those headlines, but I believe there's an even bigger headline than those three. Now, first off, you gotta give Giannis an incredible amount of credit and accolades and roses and whatever other adjective you want to think of in terms of spewing, dispersing compliments. What that guy did in these NBA Finals was absolutely nothing short of all-time historically great. Game 6 going for a 50-point spot on over 60% shooting that had never been done in the history of the NBA Finals, and it was nonetheless done in a closeout game, the hardest game to win in any postseason or finals series. Now, that's offense. On defense, the dude had 5 blocks. That is more blocks than the entire Suns franchise on Tuesday. That's remarkable. So offensively, he was absolutely out of his mind dominant, and defensively, he was absolutely out of his mind dominant. And the one dubious feature of Giannis, the one doubt we had, the one hesitation, fear we had in terms of Giannis taking the Bucks over the finish line was his lack of free throw shooting. It was very much on display in games 4 and 5, where he converted on just 42% of his free throws. So that's the one glaring weakness of his game. So what happens in game 6? The dude goes 89.4% from the charity stripe. He goes from looking like Shaq at the free throw line, no disrespect, Big Diesel, to looking like Steve Nash at the free throw line. And he actually not only makes more free throws than the Phoenix Suns, but he has a better percentage in Game 6 than the Phoenix Suns. And the Phoenix Suns are one of the best, if not the best, foul shooting team in the league. Giannis outperformed them in that regard. Giannis could do no wrong in Game 6. But that's not what makes him a champion. And that's the big headline I take away from these 2021 NBA Finals. What makes him a champion has nothing to do with him being the 2021 Finals MVP. It has to do with the first thing he does at the podium when the world is celebrating him is he goes out of his way to name and thank the people that are part of the Milwaukee Bucks organization, that are usually on court, and they were not there in Game 6 because of COVID. Giannis didn't waste a single breath in being the first person to thank them for the sacrifice they made for the team this season. The second thing he does is he talks about his family. He talks about struggle. He discusses what it's like to be a kid growing up in Greece. He discusses his knowledge of what it's like being a kid from Nigeria, a country where his father inhabits from. And he discusses why it's so important that he's a role model, not just for kids that like the game of basketball, but for kids that want to dream of doing anything in their lives. Giannis is all about other people. He's about other people's journey. That's what makes him a champion. You know, when he was doing the interview on court last night and they asked him, Giannis, how long are you going to party for? Is it going to be 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours? Giannis said, I'm not partying. This is hopefully the last thing I do tonight, and then I'm getting to bed because I want this feeling next year. He's putting aside what is pleasant, what is a quick fix, what is a quick high, if you will, for him, and he's thinking about the bigger picture. You know, when COVID happened, obviously it impacted everyone differently, but you know, the Milwaukee Bucks employees, it impacted them greatly because like every other team, they were employed until COVID hit. And then the NBA was, you know, it wasn't canceled, but it was postponed for a significant amount of time. Giannis was one of the first major superstars to go into his pockets, deep into his pockets, and financially support people that weren't in a position to support themselves because of COVID-19. Giannis went into his pockets in his early 20s because his younger brothers did not have the education that Giannis wanted for them, so he took care of their education. This is when Giannis was in his early 20s. He understood the struggle that his mom had gone through throughout her entire life. Giannis saw poverty on a daily basis. One of the first things he did was made sure that his mother was financially taken care of. Now, I know that that's something that a lot of pro athletes do, but Giannis dealt with poverty at a level that very few people will ever see in their lifetime, especially those people that are on the professional athletic side. The money that he gives back for the Milwaukee community is so unprecedented in terms of what other stars are doing for their communities. And you never hear an employee, you never hear any member of the Milwaukee community come out and talk about Giannis just the basketball player. They talk about him alongside being a great person. Giannis was giving a press conference, and it was 2 weeks ago, and they were asking him about his free throw struggles, and they were asking him about previous games, and he said, I don't allow my ego to become invested in what happened in the past. That's the past. That has nothing to do with what I do today. And that really struck me because when you think about things that you do in your life, you often reflect back and you reference back to moments that you have done certain things. And so for Giannis to have accomplished as much as he has accomplished, to say, I don't ever take into account the 2 MVPs I won in the regular season, that means nothing now. What matters is the game that I have right in front of me, the moment that I have right in front of me. And I remember the reporter just flat out saying, Giannis, that's not something that's typical of a 26-year-old. You realize that's the perspective of someone well beyond the age of 30. Well, that to me is perspective of well beyond the age of someone who's, 50 and above, because to think that, I would just say to be that esoteric and to be that cognizant of that particular principle at 26 years old is something that I haven't seen in a very long time, if at all. But it is important to remember that just because you win an MVP, just because you win a championship, that doesn't make you necessarily a champion in life. It does on the court, but Giannis was an absolute champion long before he played in the 2021 NBA Finals. It's that simple. A big, heartfelt congratulations goes out to Giannis. You deserve it, man. An amazing feat and an amazing display of basketball and emotional intelligence and absolute physical assertion and mental conditioning and mental fortitude you showed for your team in these NBA Finals. Congratulations, my man. But you were an NBA champion well before you were actually an official NBA champion, because you were a champion of life. And what you have overcome and what you have done up until the age of 26 is absolutely, freakishly, pun intended, amazing. Up next, will the Milwaukee Bucks repeat as NBA champions? And if not, who is going to give them their biggest opposition in the 2021-2022 NBA season? You're going to find out what that is next in the next video, of course. And if you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe. And like it too. Have a great day, everybody. And thank you for watching. And congratulations, Giannis. You deserve it, number 34.